Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel, Sigma Prism. Today, our special guests come to us from the Conceal Network. Before we begin, I'm going to give you, as usual, a brief description of the blockchains being covered. So in this case, what is Conceal Network? And before we do that, I just want to very quickly disclaim that I do not work for Conceal, I do not endorse Conceal, and also for the protection of the creators of Conceal Network, they have chosen to preserve their identities and remain sort of anonymous due to multiple, obligations that they have in their real lives. So without any further ado, welcome Conceal Network.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, it's really nice to be on board with you, Sigma.
Perfect. So before we begin, I'll just give people a very brief description of what Conceal Network is. You can find them at conceal.network. They are a decentralized blockchain bank with deposits and investments paying interest rates without involvement of financial institutions, powered by 100% open source code. Conceal enables untraceable and anonymous messaging and a secure way to transfer funds. Using a distributed public ledger, the sender and receiver are kept anonymous, a key concern in today's world. Hackers cannot trace the money or messages when the messages are sent across these public networks. Conceal has their own tokenized asset in cryptocurrency, CCCX, and is based on the crypto note protocol and runs on a secure peer-to-peer network technology to operate with no central authority. To reiterate, you control the private keys to your funds, and Conceal is accessible by anyone in the world, regardless of their geographic location or socioeconomic status. Their blockchain is resistant to any kind of analysis. All your CCX transactions and messages are anonymous, and they avoid many concerns and limitations that are technological, potentially environmentally impactful, things that have to do with personal reputations and credit worthiness, security, and all of those things. They believe this is the future of finance and of data privacy as well. And Conceal, once more, is open source, community driven, and truly decentralized. Nobody owns it, and everybody can take part. Woo! So with that being said, this is a very interesting project that you guys have decided to pioneer. Right off the bat, what made you want to pursue this type of project?
So most of the crypto projects by the time lack real life applications, and it was one of the reasons. And another one, it was the lack of privacy protection at the protocol level. So at the time when we start the community in 2017, because before being a crypto project, we are a community. So the community start before the project, before materializing our idea. So at the time, the privacy coins and projects available, they were not by default. You can choose between stay private or not. And that jeopardized the entire blockchain, because people with enough knowledge is able to abuse of vector attacks to trace some of the outputs or transactions, to check balances, and that didn't make sense to us. So we start a little group initially, like 6 or 7 people, that grow to 16, and we start talking about 4 fundamental pillars that are the base, the foundation of our community. And of course, privacy, because the main projects lack of it, and the few privacy projects at the time lack of privacy by default. and trustless setup, because some offer privacy, but you need to trust in the developers that did the ceremony of the coin. Not our case. We are totally decentralized and trustless. So decentralization was the second pillar of our project, and we aim as well to be social inclusive. So there is so many people having issues to get a bank account, to use money, even alternative communities, even in remote places where like you hardly gonna find an ATM machine, local economies. So one of our third pillar is social inclusion. And the last one is censorship resistance, because platforms and blockchains like Ethereum, imagine like someone with the right privileges called seize your funds, called block your address. We are not talking about a centralized entity that like an exchange. So this address did some criminal activity, let's bar it from our exchange. No, we are talking about coins like USDT, for instance, USDC. The creators of the token can just like freeze your coins or seize it or destroy them or block your address, and you lose all the funds there. It's something that could not happen with Bitcoin or with Conceal. And in Conceal, on top of all the features you have in Bitcoin, trustless setup, decentralization, censorship resistance, you as well have privacy. So these are the four main pillars and the reason we create the community and we start this project. At the time, we were not happy with the privacy coins that were available.
Right.
It was a shame what happened with Bitcoin. We tried, like we got quite excited when Monero like took the Bitcoin code base, but then they distanced themselves from some values and some ideas from some of their community members. So that's one of the main reasons we are not a Monero fork. We aren't a Bitcoin fork. Our code base is based on the CryptoNote original that picked up some ideas from Satoshi, like adding privacy to Bitcoin with ring signatures and stealth addresses, and keeping our UTXO model. There are several reasons for that we could talk for hours regarding the advantages and of it, and that's the reason we are here today talking about Conceal Network.
Perfect.
So
perfect.
privacy, decentralization, social inclusion, and censorship resistance. Any of our products are resistant to some kind of central authority and censorship. So I don't know if you are aware of all our products. We don't have only a cryptocurrency. We have as well, let's say, I will not call it a messenger, because the main reason is not to change text messages. It's you can do everything you do with the phone, with audio and video calls encrypted. So it's not an app like Conceal Live. It's not an app like Telegram or Signal where you talk to hundreds of strangers or groups, but it's an app you could use your close family and friends, with family and close friends. So all communications are totally encrypted. You can use audio, video. We have text messages as well, but the main reason it was to allow people to have 100% end-to-end encrypted communications in a peer-to-peer private network. So
And it's
totally
serviceless.
yeah, serverless, totally decentralized. It can work inclusively without internet. So there are a few cases of people that use it with mesh networks and in neighborhood private Wi-Fi without connecting to the main internet, and they are still able to communicate with encrypted audio and calls. We have Conceal ID, that is a nickname that replaces your address. We have Conceal Pay for merchants. Any of these solutions are decentralized, are private, so it offers some level of privacy protection, and we keep working on new products and services, and we try to make them as much centralized, trustless, and privacy protect as possible. So Conceal Network is not just a coin; it's a complete
Ecosystem.
we were able, even not having smart contracts, using like all the potential of the blockchain technology available, UTXO, hash time locked contracts, we have been able to have compound interest on the mainnet. So basically, any user that stake his coins could get up to 6% per annum per year on rewards. So you can do cold staking. You don't need any server. You don't need any hardware or to leave your wallet open, like creating a tag point vector. Like you just stack your coins. You can close your wallet, go to your life, and you are like making rewards. And some people see this as a very good feature. Others have criticized, yeah, but that's going to create a necessary inflection. Now, don't worry, because Conceal has been simulated for almost 6 months in MATLAB, and it was the tokenomics of the CCX have been studied, like using all possible scenarios to calculate the right amount of rewards to offer, of the block rewards for the miners. So basically, we achieve all this, and I'm talking right now in particular to compound interesting, without the need of smart contracts, using hash time
Time-locked contracts.
and
So yeah,
proof
basically,
of work.
So I just want to touch upon the cold staking CryptoX for one moment. The difference between cold staking and normal staking, like people know what staking is on the like Ethereum network, okay? When you stake on the Ethereum network, you either delegate your coins or you keep your wallet open. So it's a hot wallet. The difference between a cold stake that we have, you keep the coins on your wallet, and the coins never leave your wallet. You just lock them on the blockchain, and you can close your wallet and go by your day. So you don't have to keep it 24/7 connected to the internet. Now, what cold staking is, like if you go to Bitcoin, the first 3 years of Bitcoin, 40%, approximately 40% of the coins were minted in the first 3 years. So it wasn't fair, okay? Because you're talking about a new economy. Basically, the cryptocurrency world is a new economy. It's the new financial system of the world. So having 40% of the coins minted in the first 3 years is not very fair, in my opinion and anybody's opinion. So basically, the early miners, they made a lot of money, okay? So what Conceal is doing, The inflation, our coins are 200 million total. So it will take more than 100 years to be minted completely. So we're a 4-year project, and we haven't minted 8% of the total circulating supply, compared to 40% in Bitcoin in the first 3 years. So basically, if you come 10 years after this voice call, it will still be early to enter Conceal. So basically what we're building is a new financial system that doesn't give an advantage to early adapters and disregards latecomers to this project and this economy. It's not a project, it's an economy. So you can't do that, in my opinion, and in the team's opinion. You have to make it very fair for anybody to enter. So that's I just wanted to touch upon this point. It's very important to understand the inflation. The mining is going to take more than 100 years. It's not going to take like 6 years or 5 years or 10 years like the normal coins that we have today. So basically, the whole crypto market is less than 13 years old in the industry, and basically 80 to 95% of all coins have been minted. This isn't fair. You're talking about a whole new economy. You can't give a short window to some people to have all the advantage of that and then leave the rest. So how does that make cryptocurrency better than the traditional financial system? You need to make it fair for people to go to this economy, to have prosperity in this economy. It's a very big picture. You're not talking about a coin. Like Conceal is basically building a whole new economy. Like you can do in the future, we're going to work on financial transactions. You can do financial transactions, peer-to-peer financial transactions. You can send funds, you can receive funds. You can send encrypted messages on the blockchain, encrypted messages on the blockchain. So basically you can send top secret information and it will never be hacked. You're not sending the information to a server. You're sending it to the blockchain. You have encrypted email, encrypted messages, and you have self-destructive messages. So basically, if I send you a message and I want it to be self-destructed in 2 hours, let's say, it will self-destruct. I can send you whatever information, very top secret, whatever. Like basically reporters can use this feature in countries that they have lack of freedom of speech. So we have to understand the applications of this.
Yeah, inclusive, like in our wallets. I think it's funny because some projects they publicize themselves as private, but if you use their Explorer, Chain Explorer, to check an address, you can check the balance of that address. In our case, you can't even look for an address in the chain or in the Explorer, and even if you couldn't see the balance, and even the owner of that wallet can't see who sent him or her the funds. So every time you get funds in your wallet, in your address, you have no idea who sent them to you. If someone needs proof of payment to pay to you, to prove that has paid to you, basically it needs to send you a special secret key for that transition in particular. And that way he or she can prove that I've sent you that money. So it's quite useful in case of dispute with a merchant or any other organization or individual. And yeah, imagine if for some reason your computer or device is seized by any organization, governmental or criminal or whatever, they can connect the dots. Where do you got those funds? They can establish a connection between you and any address or funds that have been sent to your wallet or address. And point regarding the complete ecosystem and talking about cold stacking. And regarding the economics, the tokenomics, to complete this topic. So our tokenomics have been designed by economists and have been simulated over and over. And I know we lack documentation, but the truth is, during the discussion with the community, we realized it was very complex language. So we tried just to include in very simple ways and words how our tokenomics work. And I know like people today have notion of paying like 100 to 200% APR per year because a few platforms and ecosystems collapsed that were paying too many interest. But we keep the interest paid in the compound interest in the cold staking low because it's sustainable in the long term. So we are sure during the first 30 years, we're going to be able to pay that interest rate to anyone that lock their coins. Even if all the coins in existence are locked and getting interest, we are still able to offer 100 years of rewards. And there is another particular in our blockchain that it's quite exquisite. It was unique at the time. Our block rewards for the miners started low at 5, and they increased with time up to 12 CCX per block, and then they decreased again to 6. So this to make sure we have a fair lunch and we allowed people to get on board, even if they don't get it in the first months or the first year, they were still on time to be rewarded for their participation in the network. So we have a few particularities that I think are common to a few community-driven projects, but the main idea I would like to transmit to our audience is, before being a project, we are a community. So there is a lot of work and discussion and study involved until we launch any product or service. And it's taking the time. We are taking the time to develop a complex blockchain ecosystem that will solve many existent problems. So it's a big challenge because we are not taking advantage. Sometimes I even personally, I think we are missing the first mover advantage. And now we need to convince a crowded market space of the benefits of our technology. It's very similar to what is happening with Ergo platform and with Cardano, because it's a very complex problems turned in simple ways. It's a lot of work, research. Most of the projects, they don't do research. They fork existence technology and they start from there like a puzzle. And the people on crypto, they want basically plug and play projects, plug and play NTFs, plug and play DeFi. So that's why today you have a project that is performing quite well in the market and in 6 months is dead. So I think people are not still fully conscious of the potential of doing serious research and working on products, like testing before launching, make sure like there are like the potential vectors attack vectors are reduced to the maximum. And of course there isn't a perfect product or service or blockchain. All of them gonna have bugs in the long term, that's gonna be fine. But I think there is too many projects lacking research. I'm not saying our research is better or worse, or we do more, or we do the research necessary to develop our blockchain, our products, our services. But people don't value research as much as they should, like in real life is done. So in the digital world, we are still like seeing like the plug and play. Everything happens too fast, and then you have projects collapsing. You have massive hacks draining funds from people, from entire communities. So our approach,
They have no real value.
Yes, our approach is a real life approach. So we don't aim just to launch a crypto project or a decentralized finance. Our aim is to solve real life existing problems and
The cryptocurrency problem.
Yes, and include as much people as we could, and that's the reason we are here, still developing. Thank you.
Oh yeah. So going back, there's a lot to unpack there. I'll just start wherever my brain takes me. The Conceal Tokenized Asset, CCX, that is completely proof of work mineable, correct?
Yes, affirmative.
Okay.
Yes.
How does the cold wallet staking work? Where does that come from? Is that locked in a contract? Is that you mentioned that there's no pre-mine? So where does the staking and rewards come from if it's all proof of work?
Basically, we have two components that mint coins. The first one is the proof of work block rewards. Mm-hmm. Miners get 100% of the rewards. So imagine you do a hash time locked contract. Is simply as you choose how many coins do you want to lock and for how long. So the maximum is for 12 months, and you get 6% interest paid on top of your principal. So on the day, because the coins are not unlocked automatically, you need to do it manually, unlock the coins when the term ends. On that block, that interest, those coins regarding the interest are generated on top of the block reward. So they are validated for all the chain, all the nodes in the chain, mm-hmm. And after being validated, like all the nodes validate that contract has been executed and that address in particular gonna get that reward, those coins are minted on top of the block reward.
Okay, and how much out of the 200 million is reserved for strictly mining, and how much is reserved for staking, you mentioned?
So we have a graphic online in our wiki of our Wikipedia, of our wiki, and that explains all the minting process, the block rewards, and basically, like it was been during the simulations, it was studied how much rewards could we pay, and it was like a safe value that we could extend the rewards for 30 years. As I told you, we are a community-driven project. So at the beginning, we were thinking in a way to incentivize people to lock their coins, to take the coins from the market, and it was being proposed 6 years, 10 years, 20, and at the end, like we choose 30 years because we have a very safe window that we could have used. And so we're going to pay 6% in the first 30 years, and even if all coins generated are locked, we are still able to pay more than block rewards for more than 100 years. And we believe in 100 years, the fees generated on the ecosystem will be enough to incentivize the miners to keep mining, to keep protecting.
Yes, exactly, and it further distributes the coins. So not 100% dedicated for miners, like in Bitcoin, which 40% was minted in the first 3 years. You actually give your early adopters, the people that actually value your project and see value in your project, additional coins to further distribute the coins among your users, not being concentrated in miners, like you have big miners, especially in the first 30 years of the project until it's mature enough. So you have the coins being distributed on your users in order to make it even more distributed than what we did.
Okay.
Yes, and we are talking about 30 years for rewards. So like 4 years passed. So we are still in the early adoption phase of the cold stacking. And it has been a success, to be honest, because we have managed to have more than 40% of the total amount of coins minted to date locked since almost the inception. So the share of coins locked is being with some fluctuations, but is around 40% of the coins. And we are talking about coins that are locked between 1 month and 12 that are out of the markets. So that's why we don't have the volatility like some other projects have, that they can be on the top today and in a couple of weeks they are near zero or a few cents. So that's gonna contribute for the equilibrium of the overall economic ecosystem. So taking coins out the market gonna definitely value them because it increases the scarcity of the total amount of
Is there a percentage split off the top of your heads that you can give me? Is it like 80% mineable, 20% reserved for rewards, or is it
nothing? No. Nothing is reserved for cold staking. So you have 30 years, and as many coins that are being locked, it's being minted as a reward. Okay, after 30 years, when it finishes, everything will be for the miners. But under all the simulations that we did, it will take more than 100 years for both.
I might use another expression, not all to the minus. So right now is independent. You have like a fixed emission for proof of work miners, 6 CCX per block, and the cold stacking is independent. Okay, what we can assure you is that a massive study has been done that we can afford to pay 6%, even if everyone in the network, every single coin is locked and getting interest. You're going to be able to pay the 6% for 30 years. Currently, we have around 40% of people locking their coins. We have no idea if they are locking for 1 month or for 12 months because you can't extract that data from the chain, it's private. But and some people lock for 1 or 2 months and they forget totally about the deposit, and after a year is when they unlock their coins. So if you lock for 1 or 2 months and you only unlock your coins after 2 years, you only get paid for 1 or 2 months, obviously. But it's totally independent, and the idea behind the rewards is explained in simple words. There is an article as well on our Medium. We can provide links after, but our wiki is like a centralized point of all the information regarding the project, and everything is explained in a simple way, so it's very easy to understand. Like in 3 or 4 paragraphs, all the tokenomics are explained, including the charts, and there is a table as well with the rewards, estimative of the rewards for block rewards and for the cold staking hash compound interest rates. So, and the study has been made for the next 100 years. And we still have some coins left after more than 100 years, just to have an idea. And this considering the worst case scenario, because if you consider we only have less than half of the coins locked, so we still have more than 100 years for the miners.
Got it. Why did you choose UTXO? I have my ideas on why that would be. Is there a bit of a story or a brief summary you could give me and our audience on why you chose UTXO? Obviously, Ergo's UTXO and many other chains like Cardano and things of that nature. So,
yeah. So blockchain technology can adopt many forms, and basically most of our project has been based not properly in the Bitcoin white paper, but on loose ideas that we picked up from Satoshi in the P2P Foundation forum and in Bitcoin Talk, because beside the white paper, Satoshi had quite a lot of other ideas. He was such an amazing personality, and basically, like UTXO seemed to us the most fair system to use in our project. I'm not saying that is the best, but had several advantages we can't find in other projects. And one of the biggest advantages is like you could have atomic swaps, cross-chain atomic swaps between Bitcoin, Cardano, Ergo, and Conceal. So, and it's totally trustless, decentralized, permissionless. So three components that we chase, that we aim to have in any of our products. So that was the main reason. But there are others. Of course, we couldn't have hash time lock contracts in another way, for instance. And these two components, UTXO and HTLC, are going to allow us to have atomic swaps in the future. And once you have this interoperability between blockchains, everything is possible. You could have a decentralized DEX. You can have quite a lot of things on top of atomic swaps, and that is, being honest, it was the main reason. UTXO structure can conduct atomic swap transactions between different chains that support the same technology, obviously. And because of their nature, you totally could remove the need for trust and people paying extra fees like on Ethereum, and aside from the ones that you have to pay for realizing one transaction. And it was the main reason. Of course, I called, as I told you in the beginning, I called top hours regarding this technology, because there are other advantages, there are some cons as well, but that was the main reason, answering your question.
Yeah, I believe Komodo has a atomic DEX or atomic swap as well. They're part of the UTXO. Yeah, for transaction architecture, it does seem like there's a lot of bottlenecking when it comes to account-based models. If Ethereum could be a prime example of that, right? Scaling solutions and things like that.
In accounting system, like you hardly make an address totally private. For instance, and UTXO, you are dealing with outputs, so it's much easier to have like a default protection layer at the protocol level. So at the time that waits as well in making the decision.
Right. Yeah, UTXO allows you to kind of feel like you're transacting with cash in some ways, right? Because you have to consume the boxes. An account-based model is more of a balance, like if you would have a bank account balance. So yeah, it does seem from a non-technical standpoint, from my point of view, that the possibilities are very flexible and numerous, and it seems to align a lot with when you're talking about privacy features, that the implementation of that makes a lot of sense, because you are literally consuming boxes, and you will, it is not a balance-based system. One question I have, well, I have many questions, but you do have an upcoming bridge with Ergo. Could you talk a little bit more about that and what that means, and what is the significance of that, and why did you choose Ergo to build the bridge with?
Of course, I'm gonna be honest with you. The team didn't know much about Ergo, but we had a community-driven project, and somehow, during our last consensus, Ergo, it was the most voted. It won the pool, massively won, and we realized we needed to know about Ergo. So we are able to deploy bridges with EVM. With virtual machine networks quite easily. So they are not totally decentralized. It's impossible with the current tech of the several existing platforms. So if someone sells you that, he's selling the right thing, the wrong thing. Anyway, so but as soon as we realized there was quite a strong user base, Ergo user base inside our community, we did the right thing. So we did our research. We just not promise like things we could not accomplish. And we realize the importance of Ergo platform and everything that they are working. And being in a partnership has some level of responsibility. So we it's not about for us. It's not about marketing. Of course, Ergo platform is a much bigger project than ours, so it's good to have a partnership. But we have responsibility to do the things right. So we did our research. We invested time in the research, and we realized using the same UTXO technology, we could achieve atomic swaps between the chain. Then we kept studying Ergo platform, and we realized there is quite a lot of potential regarding what they are working on, like inclusive Sigma USD, stablecoins. So what we realize is we cannot just do another bridge like we did with Avalanche or Polygon or Binance Smart Chain. We need something serious that gonna really solve real life problems and could be used by people. So we decide to not work on the knees and do a proper job. It's gonna require 4 times more work and time and resources, but we are working right now on all the necessary changes to have atomic swaps working. And we at some point in the future, because we can't give you like a concrete date right now, to have atomic swaps between Ergo platform and Conceal. And if you check our roadmap, we have quite a few products and services we are working on in the near future. We are working on them, and we plan to launch in the near future. And we are thinking to include Ergo on them. So imagine you will be able, for instance, to have atomic swap and have Sigma USD running on a DEX, on Conceal platform, Conceal Network, or even like keep your tokens, because Ergo is a platform. You could tokenize any asset and have it on Ergo. You could use it in a mobile wallet. You can basically do atomic swap, have that token, not properly Ergo. Ergo going to be available as well, the coin, but any token, any token on Ergo platform could be stored on Conceal platform. And you could, for instance, if there is a shop that accepts like that token in particular that runs on Ergo, but the customer wants to stay anonymous. He wants to buy some item in that shop, but he doesn't want to reveal any personal data about him. He could use that token running over Conceal, totally private, untraceable, anonymous. He pays his bill. The merchant can convert to Ergo platform again, and you keep the customer privacy intact. So that's one of the real life applications. Or imagine you have some Sigma USD and you want to do online purchase. So you want to buy something online and you want to stay anonymous, like to pay for a VPN or that accepts Sigma USD or any other stablecoin running on top of Ergo platform. So you could just do atomic swap and have that token on Conceal Network. Of course, not all the tokens going to be available, but because we're going to have a system for our privacy protect assets platform, that there is initial fee to have an asset running on our platform. But yes, it's possible. It's one of the real applications that could be in the future. So this level of technology, you can't achieve it like overnight. You can just do it in 2 or 3 months, and you need to test it. And we are very careful. Like 80% of our project development is testing in our software life cycle. Like quite most of the time we are testing what we have done. And that's why some technology takes more time than other. We need to make sure like we do the things right, or at least if something goes wrong, it's in a controlled environment where we will be able to have a quick fix or minimize the impact in users losing money or time. Time is money as well, losing their time. So it's not just like a centralized bridge like we have done until now. That's the truth. Otherwise, we were lying to our community, to our audience. So we have bridges to a few EVM platforms, but what we are working on right now is nothing comparable. It's several levels up. So we need to prepare, we need to do massive changes in our network, like to prepare the atomic swaps. And then we need some testing with Ergo. And at some point in the future, we plan to implement atomic swaps with Bitcoin as well. So as we say, it's going to be a overall ecosystem, so a complete financial ecosystem based on blockchain, privacy protect blockchain in this case, and centralized. So I think for everything we acknowledge about Ergo, like they have an awesome team, like with track record in blockchain technology since Next and Waves and smart contracts. So we can't do it for less than this. I understand some people are impatient. They want to see some proof of concept straight away. But the truth is we are doing the things right. So we think like a project like Ergo deserves something at the upper level. So properly decentralized, trustless atomic swaps. And it's what we are working on. Gonna take some time.
Perfect.
I hope I didn't extend too much myself.
No, I think our community would appreciate that feedback, and we appreciate you taking the time to focus in on high quality product. Yeah, a lot of the EVM bridges can be easier to implement, but also, as you mentioned, there are a few pitfalls when going through gatekeepers, and we see that. And we see that wormhole and other things.
If you allow me to add, like even the ones that advertise themselves as centralized, they have their own attack vectors, like flash loans, and any mistake in the smart contracts, and you have like hackers funneling funds from entire communities. That will not happen with atomic swaps, for instance, and you have no third parties like you have no centralization attack vectors, so they are totally trustless, and our technology, current technology, allows that. That's why we are investing time on it, and having UTXO and hash time like locked contracts, we will be able to do that and even more in the future. We just need time and allocate the right resources to it, but we'll get there. Like everything we did in the past, some things took more time than others, but if you are working on it, we will not like rest until we have completed and deliver it to our community. So that's how we work.
Perfect. A quick question for both of you. Privacy, right? On the topic of privacy. Many actors would argue, which is a very common, maybe misguided argument, but this idea of complete privacy allows for also malicious actors to do things outside of a view of people that would help protect everyday citizens, whether it be terrorism or any other malicious activity. What would you say in the face of arguments like that, where privacy is a double-edged sword, and bad things can happen? What would you say with that argument?
Okay, I would say one thing. 98% of all the dollars in the world, okay, have drugs on them. If you study them, so basically what I'm saying is the US dollar, which is the reserve currency of the world, is the currency most used in drug trafficking around the world. So that notion is completely wrong. So when you say cryptocurrencies can be used for malicious acts, even country currencies like the dollar is being used for something bad. But you can't completely eliminate people doing bad things, even on the dollar or like a country currency, which we don't like because it's centralized and it steals everybody's wealth over generations. You have to agree on something that is better than that, but you will never be able to eliminate some people doing bad things. Like any new technology, people will do good and will do bad, but the majority of people will do good with this technology. Like with the internet, when the internet became everybody's using internet, the majority of people are using the internet for good things. They're building businesses, they're building communities, they're the ideas. The information flow was not accessible like in the 80s or 90s like they are now. So anybody would say that the internet was a good thing for humanity. But of course, it's being used for bad things by certain individuals. Same thing as cryptocurrencies. So the cryptocurrencies will solve a lot of the problems that we're having from centralized government debt-based monetary system, which is basically they're printing to infinity. They're stealing everybody's wealth. They're using all of that to finance wars around the world. And at the same time, they're telling you, like, take this, for instance, Africa, okay, they still have people that don't have food or water. But somehow, miraculously, when the pandemic hit, they were able to distribute vaccines all over the world. So I'm just telling you, the notion is severely wrong, okay? You don't want to give that much power to a single authority because it will definitely be used for bad things. So the bad thing in the world that we have today is centralization of power, which is money. If you take that away from them, believe me, the world would be a better place because human beings, they're not bad. They're good people. They actually are good people, but when you give too much power to someone or some group of entity or whatever, they're going to use that to continue to have power, to continue to have that. So basically, they're going to use that for bad.
Okay, fair enough. What are the few of the problems that cryptocurrencies can solve, and Conceal in particular can solve even more narrowly, that are not even addressed within the larger crypto industry right now?
Okay,
so
basically,
it's a two-part question. So what can cryptocurrencies in general solve, and what is Conceal doing better or different that can actually solve more things than the general industry at large so far?
Okay. So cryptocurrencies, the most important thing is it's not inflationary, it's deflationary. So basically, you can't keep printing cryptocurrencies. So like, for instance, Bitcoin has 21 million Bitcoins. So you can never have more than 21 million. So basically, as the time passes, it's going to have more value because more people will be, it will have more demand, and the Bitcoin is going to be scarce. Like, it's a fixed supply and people are increasing. So it's going to keep increasing in value. So anything you're going to calculate based on Bitcoin is going to be less. So basically, a car today will cost you 1 Bitcoin. In 20 years, it will cost you 0.1 Bitcoin maybe, or even 0.01 Bitcoin. So basically, the major problem that cryptocurrencies solve is it will maintain the purchasing power and the wealth of the family. So basically, if your father left you a Bitcoin, you will actually be able to buy something with that Bitcoin instead of the US dollars in the bank. So if somebody's father left him, like, let's say 1 Bitcoin, okay? And it's $20,000. Today, $20,000, let's say, will buy you a car. In 20 years, that 1 Bitcoin maybe will be worth 200,000. It will buy you 10 cars. But at the same time, if he leave you $20,000 in the bank, in 10 years, the car would be worth 50. So the major problem that cryptocurrency is solving is maintaining the purchasing power for the normal individuals like me and you. And it's giving us that back, okay, because this is our right, everybody's right, and that will keep all the governments in the world in check. So basically, they can't keep stealing prosperity from people to their own agenda, whatever it is. So that's the problem that cryptocurrency as a whole solves. But you have to understand one very simple thing. Cryptocurrencies, if it's not private, it will never achieve that. It will never achieve what I told you now that cryptocurrency is supposed to achieve, which is maintaining purchasing power. Because if cryptocurrencies are public, these people and these governments and anybody who has enough interest in this will invest all the resources that he has to break the privacy, and then he can go let's say in a dictatorship country, and a reporter wants to write something. She has a Bitcoin address or a public ledger address, okay? That is not private. If they know her address, like from chain analysis companies, she's done. But in privacy coins, that will never happen. So the idea of cryptocurrencies not being private is faulty. This is the idea. You shouldn't have a cryptocurrency that's not private. Satoshi, when he first invented Bitcoin, he didn't have the technology to have a private coin. So let's for instance, let's say that you want to create something revolutionary as Bitcoin. You want to know if it works or not. So you're not gonna make it private by default from the beginning. You're gonna do it public in order to see if it actually works. When it works, you're gonna implement privacy features in it. Satoshi himself was talking about stealth addresses, but the technology wasn't there. Now we have that technology. So basically saying that cryptocurrencies and privacy coins, we shouldn't have a cryptocurrency that's not private. That's the first problem. We shouldn't have that. So when people say, oh, it's a privacy coin, no, it's not a privacy coin. This is what crypto is supposed to be. It has to be private. Basically, cryptocurrencies was built, and people like Satoshi built these ideas, and we're constantly building upon it because of all the problems that we see over the world, over not decades, over centuries. It's the same problem over and over. It's war. It's lack of purchasing power. Inflation keeps rising century after century. Unemployment keeps increasing. These problems are all connected to one simple thing. If actually people do some research, it's connected to the centralized money power in the world. If you take that, all these problems are solved. It's that simple. That's why crypto was built. That's why we're all in crypto, because we love crypto, because it is the future. If actually people invest enough time to understand them instead of just putting their money in NFTs or whatever, like it's a picture. It's a picture. Like if you actually do some research, if people start reading and understanding history and why crypto was actually invented, they would support projects like Conceal that actually makes a difference in the world instead of investing in an NFT picture. Like the people have to understand these things. It's a pillar. That's what I'm saying. That's what crypto solves.
Now, what does Conceal solve in a superior degree apart from privacy? Do you feel like other facets of the technology, what are the benefits of using that versus a different blockchain, for example, apart from the privacy stuff, which is very, very important?
Okay, basically Conceal, as we spoke before, it's not just a cryptocurrency. It's an ecosystem. So basically, right, we're building tools. We're gonna continue building tools to make it an ecosystem. So basically, you're gonna have people buying and selling stuff via Conceal. Like we're gonna have a page that any merchant wants to deal with Conceal, or any buyer wants to deal with Conceal. You're gonna have messaging. You're gonna have voice and audio. You're gonna have file sharing. You're gonna have a lot of things like what CryptoX was talking about. You're gonna have atomic swaps on different chains. You're having bridges. Like you don't have any project in the crypto space doing all of that. Like 99% of all crypto projects out there are just coins. You can just send and receive funds. That's it. They don't have a larger picture. Cryptocurrencies is not supposed to be just a coin. It's supposed to be a whole industry. It's supposed to be a whole economy.
Whole right, financial ecosystem. And we have, beside the privacy and the way we deal with the privacy, because it's different from most of other projects, there was a massive work in the macroeconomics and to try natural equilibrium in the ecosystem. So we have very exquisite tokenomics, and beside all the work, all the background of the tokenomics, for instance, in our blockchain, you are able to do a proof of payment. Like it's something rare, like unless you use a transparent blockchain, in most of the privacy coins, you hardly can do it. For instance, you can do it on Mimblewimble protocol, for instance. Then we managed to develop tools that allow anyone to audit the chain. How much coins in circulation, how much rewards have been paid for the compound deposits, inclusive, like you, even being a privacy coin at the protocol level, you can print keys for a proof of balance. So if you are an organization, a crowdfunding, or a community, you will be able, like, to print keys, view keys, to audit the balance of a wallet or address. So we have a few financial tools available because we try it, like, our mindset is based on real life economy. So if we want to solve people problems, we need to work on those tools. So I have a set of features that are not very usual in other blockchains. I think is one of our strengths in terms of overall economic ecosystem is that those tools projected. We have as well Conceal Pay, that is a tool that agilizates the way a merchant gonna charge their customers online, where you get notifications and could be connected to POS systems, points of sale. So we are working in a complete finance ecosystem, and where the centralization, privacy, censorship resistance, and social inclusion are the main base factors of what we are building.
What are a few of the barriers you feel to commercial adoption? What would it take for Conceal to get greater exposure within our industry from existing users, and also the commercial enterprise level users that are yet to be onboarded?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Our right now we are focused on building, and we share the feeling, if we build, they will come. Because we feel that we miss that first mover advantage.
Right.
Because we are quite serious of what we are working. As I told you, like, we have jobs, daily jobs in our real life, and Conceal start like a hobby. It's not a hobby anymore. It's like sometimes it's harder than having a real job, but we are serious about what we are doing, and we have the notion that we missed the first movers advantage. So it's going to be harder for us to convince the entire crowded market with so many options that our purpose and that we are good in what we are doing, and that our project have real life applications. But I believe there are no one does exactly the same the things in the same way. So I believe that we have such a a diversity in our team and community that we have so many different kind of inputs in everything we do, in everything, every time we make a decision, every time we work, that at the end we're gonna have a unique project, a project that is different from most of the projects. And I believe that the persistence gonna pay off. I believe if we keep focusing building and we be persistent, we're gonna succeed in the future. I'm sure we will, because we have quite a unique ecosystem. It's not a product, it's not a service. We have to offer like not only the cryptocurrency, not only the privacy, not only the decentralization, but a few set of tools that allow people to communicate, to make business, to transact, and to trade, and that's gonna pay off definitely. It's what I believe.
Yes, and we need some marketing strategies. So basically, currently, I'm building a marketing strategy. I've been part of the team for like 4 months right now. I'm fairly new to the group. So I'm working on strategic marketing ideas, and hopefully we'll be doing something later this month or the next month. So I'm doing a lot of R&D, research and development, because marketing, if you actually understand it, like online marketing, it's really hard to actually understand all the channels, all the tricks, all the things that you can do. So we're working on that front. We're working hard on that front. So yeah, hopefully we'll do something good.
You mentioned long-term survivability and sustainability of Conceal is very important. If as a truly decentralized platform and ecosystem, what is the idea or concept you may have for the future? Because eventually Conceal will outlive all of us here, correct? So who will be in charge then? Will it be the community? They have to step in and they have to kind of fulfill the roles you guys are currently assuming?
Exactly, because as I said in the beginning of this interview, before being a crypto project, we are a community. We start as a community almost 1 year before launching the project. And every member of the team, including myself, stepped up from the community. And you have Crypt Trader and any other team member. Before being part of the team, we were a community. So Conceal is open to anyone. Conceal doesn't belong to anyone. Everyone can participate.
I see. Apart from everything we talked about, what will the tokenized asset specifically be used for? Can you talk a bit about how transaction fees are conducted and things like that, apart from holding onto the asset and receiving a potential staking reward for locking it in? What other things will you be able to do with this tokenized asset, and kind of what are the job functions of that right now and in the future, apart from the things that we've covered?
So we have a decentralized autonomous organization and constituted by several different divisions. So we have people working on different projects inside the community. And with this new platform on our main net that we are working for, because Conceal is a network of products, services, so running in the same network, we're gonna have a privacy protect assets platform running over the current chain. and CCX gonna be used is used currently already to pay fees. And for instance, you can pay your Conceal ID subscription with it. There are a few merchants that implemented already Conceal Pay, just to have an idea. So we see it as a store of value. And later on, we are planning to tokenize other assets, including third-party stable coins running in our network. And all those interoperability between merchants, users, transactions going to be paid in CCX. So there is an utility for the token coin, quite a big utility. Other applications, this platform called Boost is, imagine you have a loyalty program, and the problem with current offerings systems is they are based on Ethereum or EVMs. So you have two problems. Main one, the fees. So to offer a few cents cash back or rewards to a customer, you're going to pay 10, 20, 50 times more on fees. The second one is privacy. So you could trace a user privacy, and the problem is sharing the same address. You can see the rewards that have been paid in different industries, different businesses. So I think we have solution for that. We're going to have a privacy protect platform that gonna give privacy back to people, and the fees are minimum. We use a fixed fee to have as less metadata as possible, and to avoid as well mining extracted value from miners. So in Ethereum and Bitcoin, you have people paying more fees to have their transactions before other people. So you have a boost on Ethereum, some people that have bots like checking trading activity on DEXs, and they bid you. So basically they're going to pay a bigger fee and they're going to conclude the transaction before you, and you're going to lose money, or your transaction going to be canceled. So they're going to take advantage. And we use a flat fee to avoid that. So, and to keep the transaction fee as low as possible. Regarding everything else, in terms of scalability, our blockchain uses dynamic block size, so we can accommodate more TPS, transactions per block, transactions in the block, and I think as soon as we have all this ecosystem ready, there will be quite of real life applications to use CCX. So
one final question. How important is the fact that you're 100% open source? Do you feel, I think Ergo would agree with this notion of, if you make things open source, you remove centralized points of censorship as well. Because if you keep things in-house and you keep the code to yourself and you gatekeep it and create a walled garden, if something happens to you, and then all of that potential innovation is no longer available for somebody else to pick up around the world and roll on with that. So how important is open source for the future of our industry?
For the future of our industry, it's a hard question to answer, because we live in such competitive world. Yeah. But you can see the example of Tesla. Like they have most of their tech open source. Does not invalidate that say they have some property rights, but I think there are huge advantages. Like if you limit the knowledge to people, you have less people participating. If you keep things open, there is more probability you have more people participating. And who knows, maybe you have someone that's going to boost your project, your technology, your code. So the main reason we are open source is Conceal doesn't belong to anyone. It's a community-driven, totally community-driven project. So there was no other way to do it. And for us, it's good because we can have other peers checking our code. We can have our community participating, even outsiders. We have outsiders not related to our community, giving some hints, helping, suggesting one or other change. So, and I share the same ideas as Ergo and Elon Musk. Why are you blocking the progress, the development, like keeping things closed? And like in the pace we are living, we have no time to lose, like having like closed source tech. We need to share it as much as we can. And to keep evolving. So that's my personal opinion. I think all Conceal team share the same same thoughts about it, and I think mainly contribution. If you keep it open, you have a probability to have more contributors, more people interested in adding value to your project.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you both for your time. This was a very informative interview. I want to reiterate that for those watching now or in the future, this video is strictly for educational purposes. Again, I do not work for Conceal. I do not condone any sort of thing. This is an interview series, sharing ideas, sharing the serious crypto ecosystems out there that are building. And I would urge all of you to take a look at more projects like this that are open source, that are serious and aren't just looking to make a quick buck. Not only this one, but many other ones. So again, I want to thank you both for taking the time. And if you want to learn more about what they're building, go to Conceal, CONCEAL.network. And you'll find all the information you need about the project there. And we look forward to seeing you grow the ecosystem, not only with the Ergo Bridge, but just pioneering the future of decentralization, because the way the world is now, I think that would be the only true antidote to what everybody is experiencing around the world in 2022. So thank you both.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. I loved it, and it was a pleasure. Thank you. See you soon.
Perfect. See you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.